This is Jed Disler, and welcome to the Piano Maven, your friendly podcast guide to piano recordings. You can subscribe to the Piano Maven by clicking on the link to my Piano Maven Substack page listed in the episode description. Paid subscribers get free downloads at the start of each month, as well as invitations to Zoom meetings. And we will be having some guests from time to time. I have yet to schedule that, but that will be happening later this year. But in any event, I would really like you to consider a paid subscription to keep this podcast in production. You can also subscribe for free. And of course, that way you still can access the podcasts. But if you do take out a paid subscription, you get all the other goodies. I was really fortunate to hear the late Yuri Egorov several times in concert. He was a pianist who was born in 1954, and he died tragically young of AIDS at the age of 33 in 1988. He gained international attention when he was eliminated from the 1977 Van Cliburn competition. And I think he was eliminated to the total surprise and disappointment of many audience members as well as fellow musicians. So, what happened was, after he was eliminated, there was a consortium formed to raise the equivalent of the first prize money to give to Yuri Egorov, which would help underwrite a New York debut and to get his career, give his career kind of a jump start in the United States, and basically to get him the attention that the public thought that he deserved during the Clyburn. And that was a really big move that got a lot of attention. Anyway, he made his New York debut to great critical acclaim, and he soon signed a contract with the EMI label, for whom he made some terrific recordings, including things like the Schumann Carnival, some Chopin. He recorded the Beethoven Emperor Concerto with Wolfgang Sawallisch. He made an excellent recording of both books of Debussy's preludes. And as he became better known, some of his earlier recordings started coming out of the woodwork and showing up on small labels. One good example of that was a 1975 all Bach program that included the Italian concerto plus three preludes and fugues from the Well Tempered Clavier Book One, the D major, the F sharp major, and the B minor. And this is really intelligent and stylish and full bodied Bach playing. Yuri Egorov makes this music sound completely at home on the concert grand, but he does so without imposing anything stylistically artificial. However, the main point of interest on this disc is the B minor prelude and fugue. This was the last one in book one. And Yuri Egorov takes both the prelude and the fugue at very measured tempos, and the total amount of music making clocks in at more than 17 minutes. It must be the longest performance of this prelude and fugue on record. There might be one that's longer, but this is pretty long, 17 minutes. And in the hands of most pianists, such slow tempos can easily fall apart. But Yuri Egorov's concentration and his sustaining power, I think, really transcend any issues of mere minutes and seconds. My good friend Mark Ainley posted this performance of the B minor prelude and fugue on his page, The Piano Files with Mark Ainley, and I've provided a link to it in my episode description. And you get a sense that Egorov is following through each contrapuntal line to its final destination without ever losing focus. And you also will notice in the performance, especially in the fugue, his subtle scaling of dynamics and his really deliberate way of determining where the peaks and the valleys and the louds and the softs all occur. It's really mapped out very intelligently, but also very musically. And the results, to my ears at least, sound utterly natural, yet also inevitable. This is really impressive work for a 21-year-old pianist. Now, it's not the kind of interpretation of this prelude and fugue that you'll want to hear all the time. Personally, I prefer faster tempos and more of an a la breve treatment of the prelude instead of bung, gung, gong, gong. I prefer something more like da 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 dee dee dee. Dee. I'm totally out of tune here because it's early in the morning and I am just about to have my coffee and my brain's a little discombobulated, as it usually is. But what I want to say is that Yuri Egorov really pulls you into his sound world and he manages to convince you as you are listening. It's only after you hear the performance that you can think, well, do I really want to hear this piece that slow? But while you're listening, you are really caught up in this really terrific artistry. And it's a listening experience that remains in your ear long after the music stops. This is Jed Disler, and you've been listening to The Piano Maven, your friendly podcast guide to piano recordings. And definitely check out this link to Yuri Egorov playing the B minor prelude and fugue from Bach's Well Tempered Clavier, Book 1. I look forward to being with you for our next episode. Take good care.